Dr. Madana. Thank you so much for taking the time to join this personal branding series that I run on my blog. I talk to thought leaders from various walks of life and understand their perspectives on personal branding. So thank you so much. And before we get started, it'll be great if you could quickly introduce yourself for our viewers.
Thank you, Anaisu. Yes, really a pleasure talking to you. Um, Quickly introducing myself, I call myself a servant leadership evangelist because virtually that is all that I do. I do have about 3 or 4 hats that I wear, but two of them are in NGO sector and social sector and spiritual sector. But in the corporate sector, I wear 2 hats. One is, I drive the servant leadership implementation, or in other words, I drive the inculcation of servant leadership as a culture in an IT company called UST Global. And parallelly, I have also set up a consulting firm called Leadine Organization Builders, again primarily focused at spreading the message of servant leadership and helping organization to implement servant leadership, in their organization. So basically, that's what I do. And even in the NGO sector, where I wear a couple of hats, it is the same. My passion and my life mission is about evangelizing servant leadership. And so, as of now, that's all that I do.
Fantastic. That's great. And let me get started by asking, what is your understanding of personal branding?
Well, personal branding is something that the person is known by and known for, and what somebody is passionate about. What do others sort of look up to them for, in case and what's sort of what's the first thing that comes to somebody's mind when you hear my name, right? So in my view, that might probably be the the crux of personal branding.
Great. So
it's pretty much in line with the corporate branding, for example, right? When you hear let's say Apple, right? You think about innovation, or you think about user friendliness, or user experience and things like that. Or when you hear the term Tatas, you think about integrity and then the national presence and things like that. So similar, right? So when they hear the name Madana Kumar, what comes to your mind? What comes to their mind first? What's their first recall?
Right. Got it. That's a great way of putting it. So if I were to ask you, I know you're very humble and you're following servant leadership. So you obviously won't claim to be a personal brand, but what are some of the signs that tell you that you are moving towards this journey of building a personal brand?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Actually, you put that caveat there. Yes, I think my cause is the brand that I espouse, right? So yes, but having said that, yes, how do I know that there is a brand around the cause that I am evangelizing outside? Is primarily by looking at what do people reach out to me for? What do they ask me help in? And of course also what's my social media presence all about, right? So those are some of the things that I look at when I want to see, okay, what is the sort of personal brand that I'm really putting out there.
Got it. And if I were to ask you, what do people see? What are some of the attributes that people see in you as a personal brand? What are some of those keywords that come to people's minds when they think of Dr. Madana as the brand?
I guess it should be. I mean, I'm just, of course, guessing others' mind, but even from the feedbacks that I've got, it is about thought leadership, right? Does this person know what he or she talks about? Credibility in the field. What work has he or she done in that area that gives him or her the right to talk about or to represent a particular thought process or a particular philosophy or a particular cause.
Right.
So I think those are the two, and the third one is, of course, the passion that one has, right? Actually, you could go on and say that. No, I would say the PEP. I use an acronym called PEP, right? Do people see a passion in me when do my eyes light up when I hear the cause that I'm talking about? Do my energy levels stay or go higher? How energized I am when
Right.
I'm talking about, or when I'm working on that particular cause, and generally how prepared I look or I sound or I come across when I am dealing with that topic or the cause. So I guess those are
Yeah.
some of the 4-5 keywords.
Great. And when you look around you, I mean, is there a couple of names that come to your mind who you think are personal brands, and what are some of the characteristics that you admire about them?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I do consider, for example, Ken Blanchard is a great personal brand that I can look at, and I think the keywords that come across are similar, are similar in the sense that it is about thought leadership, it is about the passion, it's about the conviction, that he has about the topic of leadership and situational leadership and self leadership and things like that. So he is one example that I always admire, and I really consider him as my guru in this particular subject and topic. Of course, beyond that, there are obviously others like Mother Teresa or Mahatma Gandhi or Nelson Mandela. Basically the extent to which they were willing to go for a cause that they thought is the right thing to do, right? So those are obviously Martin Luther King. So those are several of those those personal brands that I really admire.
Got it. And when you reflect on your journey, I mean, what are some of the steps or building blocks that you can think of when you, of course, like the PhD was one step forward. Is there similar kind of, steps that come to your mind about how you went about building a personal brand?
Yeah, of course. The first is to, is to sort of learn. I would say that is the key thing, right? Learn and learn. And you mentioned my PhD. Actually, I took my PhD at the age of 54. And the story
Right.
behind my PhD is that I didn't take a PhD because I wanted a degree, but I took a
Right.
PhD because I was so convinced about the topic and I wanted to learn
Right.
more about it. And I felt
Right.
that I was not putting in enough time and investment into it. And so I actually registered for a PhD to create an external pressure on myself so that I will
Right.
study the topic more, right? So I think that desire and that conviction to learn, continuously learn from anyone, learn from all the sources that is available, and continuously upgrade yourself on that topic or on your area of expertise. If I have to use a broader
Right.
term, I think that is one of those key steps. So I think the beginning is that. Now, once you have that, of course, the second is the willingness to make it available to others, right? Because if you have a lot of knowledge and if it is all held within you, it's of no use to others, right? So the second step is how do you to get to start using any forum that is available, writing a book or blogs or going public speaking or whatever it is that you can find. Look for opportunities to get that message out so that it would be helpful for them, right? And the third is, of course, try to add something unique, right? Because there is when you're learning a topic, there will always be so many others who know the topic or who are experts in the topic. So, but think about what is unique about what you are offering as a personal brand or as an evangelist for the cause. What's so special about what you're offering vis-a-vis the stuff that already exists in the body of knowledge, right? So add something unique to that body of knowledge, right? And then the fourth, of course, is the willingness to add value to others. right, by using what you have. So I would say these are the 4 steps that key milestones that I would say goes into building a personal brand.
Brilliant, brilliant. And of course, it's not an easy task to build a personal brand over time. So, what are some of the challenges you faced, and how did you think about overcoming them? Because in this process of going through or building a personal brand, you obviously gain some things and you lose some things. So, what is your reflection on that?
Time is always a major challenge, right? And because you have only 24 hours in a day, and you have so many responsibilities, so many roles, and things like that. So how do you balance that, the time available to you, and pursue what is most important, right? So time, in a way, time and prioritization, let me put it that way. I think that is the challenge. But once you crack that prioritization, saying that, okay, look, I know this is the time available, but I am going to prioritize on certain thing. I think that challenge can be taken care of. The second thing, of course, is focus, right? For example, you take social media, for example. There's numerous distractions out there in the social media. There's a zillion topics on which you can comment, and then you can spend time on. But being focused, right, on what is your expertise and what's the message that you want others to see, or in your terms, what's the personal brand that you want others to associate yourself with. That focus. Those are the challenges that I have faced, and obviously worked around it to sort of make sure. The third, I would say, is the temptation to do it all by yourself, right? When you are, especially when you call it a personal brand, right? You have the temptation that, look, you can do it all yourself, right? It's all about you. It's all about what you can do and stuff like that. I think that is the biggest pit that one can, or trap that one can fall into, right? You can never build a personal brand by yourself. You got to have build what John Cotter would call as a coalition of partners around you, so that they support you, and and then they are willing to take this forward, and and stuff like that. So I think these are the three things, a lack of prioritization, lack of focus, and the temptation to do it all by yourself. So these are the 3 hurdles that I have faced, and I have tried to overcome at some point in time or the other.
Great, great. So if you were to advise someone who's starting out from scratch, what's that one piece of advice you would give them?
Pick a topic or an area that you are good at. In other words, build on your strength, rather than worry about what you don't have. As human beings, we all have this tendency to focus on what we don't have, and worry about it and try to build it and stuff like that. But my advice is always, look for what you have, and think about what can I do with what I have. So look for what you're passionate about, build on it, build on your strength, and then look how it can be, and look how it can be of value to others, right? So so identify your strength, work on it, and see how it can be beneficial for others. It can add value to others.
Got it. Great. And a related question to that, there are a lot of these youngsters who think that, building a brand is, having a YouTube channel, or, creating a viral video. So what's your advice for youngsters?
They help. However, if you're just focused on that, if you're just focused on the number of likes and the number of followers that you instantly get, or how much it goes viral and stuff like that, you are probably not living a legacy, right? So my advice is, as early as you start, think about what legacy do you want to leave, right? And so it needs to be consistent. It needs to be consistent, and needs to be invested upon on a regular basis. So I'm always, if you get short-term quick successes and short-term wins, it is good, but do not be happy with that alone. continue to focus on the long-term goals, and always have a higher purpose rather than just the number of followers you have or number of likes you get, and and then stuff like that. Always have a higher purpose. Ask yourself, look, what's the higher purpose than I have than my video going viral, or I'm me having a zillion likes for one particular post or whatever it is, right? Yeah. So I mean, focus on a higher purpose is what I would just say.
Brilliant. So right now we are going through this COVID-19 and pandemic situation, and of course it's a lot harder to build a personal brand. And there have been also cases where brands have tried to take advantage of such situations and they have failed. So what's your advice for personal brands to navigate such a situation?
I somehow I feel that the I mean, let me just step back. What COVID has done is literally crashed the change that the world would have gone through in the next 5 to 10 years into the past 10 months or 12 months time frame, right? So I believe that these changes would have happened over a period of 5 to 10 years, even without COVID. And COVID basically has done what it has done is exponentially accelerated it, and and then made that changes happen in those in those 10 12 months that we have been locked in. So I think the pandemic is an opportunity because it has opened up the use of technology. It has made the world literally smaller, right? And literally it is I mean and the technology today has really helped people to reach out to global audiences, and and things like that. So I think it's actually an advantage, a huge advantage for anyone who is wanting to build a personal brand, as someone would have had if someone were to focus and work on the in-person personal brand alone. So I think this is a great opportunity rather than a challenge. So my only advice is to embrace it. Don't be enslaved by it, but embrace it, and then just make use of this opportunity, and then go out to it for it.
Great. And if you were to reflect on your journey, is there something, if there was one thing that you'd like to change about building your personal brand, what would that be?
Well, I think it's sort of similar to what I indicated to you. I think it is okay. So basically, I've been sort of wanting to bring it all out in the form of a book, right? And what has happened is I think in my mind, I've always been wanting to write, I've always been waiting to write the book, a perfect book, right? And with the result that I've never actually gotten down to publishing a book on so many thoughts that I have, so many ideas that I have, and things like that. So if I have to go back, I would probably have not waited for the book to be written, but a book to be written, and then probably published 4 or 5 books by now, and then through that process learned, and and then reached probably a few a lot more people through that medium too. So that's in my, if I just reflect back, I think that's the only probable change that I would make, if at all.
And as we wrap up, I just wanted to ask you, is there one mantra or one key phrase that you have about personal branding?
Be significant. I would say that is the personal, that's the key, this thing. And don't look for your personal success, because a personal brand is not about how successful you are or how much you add to yourself, but it should actually be about how you add value to others. And that's really what I call as significant, being significant. So I would say be significant, or in other words, do not chase success using your personal brand, but pursue significance through the personal brand that you can build.
Brilliant. This has been exciting talking to you. Great insights. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this, Dr. Madana.
My blessing and my pleasure. Thank you.